Hi, Siri. I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It is Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the great state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go to Celebration Point to International Diamond Center and buy yourself some joy, like JC does. We have JC today. We'll also have Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Get Scott's thoughts on the Sharks and moving forward to the Bulls. Not a whole lot else is going on in the world right now. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. What's going on?
Have you been outside yet, QB?
I have not.
Were you out?
I'm in the mountains, JC.
You know, I can see that. Yeah. Were you outside at all yesterday? I mean, if you can't feel the nip in the air, it is so nice.
Yeah, but it'll be 98 degrees this week.
No. Is it going to be really hot? Well,
yeah.
4:15 kickoff is better than noon, and even better than 7:30. I love it right in the middle of the day, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, somewhere in there. That's my favorite time for a kickoff. So I'm excited about the South Florida game. I like the guy you had on yesterday, Joey Johnston.
Joey Johnston.
Yeah, I liked him. I mean, you don't know much about a team like South Florida. They don't get a whole lot of coverage or a whole lot of attention. But if they win games, then they are getting more attention. And I think this is a team that's going to be, it's going to be a much better test for Florida. You really don't get better playing a practice game. I think it helps, but really these are the kinds of games, or the game next week will be the kind of game that gives you an identity of what to expect.
Yeah, let's not worry about next week. Let's worry about
I know. I'm making an
one game
example.
at a time, JC.
I'm saying this week, the South Florida will be a much more competitive game.
Yes, yeah. We have some advantages, in my opinion, in the line of scrimmages, but they got dudes their skill guys are pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think so too, and I like their coach. I think he's, he seems to be an aggressive type of coach, a play caller as well. And I think is he a defense or offense guy, QB? What is he?
Who?
Goalish. Who?
He's offense.
Yeah. Okay. So that's gonna be good for Florida to be tested defensively.
Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Loss. Shane, Sonny Jurgensen can still learn something from Curly Lambeau. He's actually unretiring his number 1 uniform for Micah Parsons. Is Curly Lambeau still? He ain't alive, is he?
No.
He wore number 1. I don't know why Parsons isn't wearing number 11. Somebody wear number 11 at Green Bay already?
Parsons wore 11 at Dallas.
Right. But he can't wear it in Green Bay for some reason. But the whole Sonny Jurgensen, that whole story just pisses me off the more anytime it's brought up, because his number was not retired. It's retired now, but it was not retired at the time. And he sat there and flat out lied to my face for 45 minutes saying, you're more than welcome to wear number 9, blah, blah, blah. Then the very next morning, there's a freaking article in the Washington Post, him raising hell about me wearing number 9.
Yeah.
Kiss my ass.
That's right. Kiss your ass.
That's right. Brandon says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellow Law. What was your thoughts on Billy saying LIU did some things they didn't put on tape and it confused us? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, because I don't know what they did before and what they did the other night.
Well,
I guess, but
I'm moving on. Go forward.
Yeah. There's always any game's going to be something different on tape.
Yeah. They may throw something in there that they're working on in practice they haven't done before. That's not a big deal. I think it was good to get that game out of the way, really, to tell you the truth. It showed us some new players. I mean, it showed us some guys that we didn't talk about all summer. Nobody talked about Tramel Jones. Nobody talked about George Gums. Nobody talked about
George Gums. Yeah, they did. He's been a starter.
I didn't hear much about it during our show. Jeremiah McLeod, how much did we talk about him during the summer? It was always Tyreek Sapp, Jeremiah McLeod. I mean,
I'm not even familiar with him.
we talk with Jaden Ball. We talk about Jaden Ball all the time, and for good reason. And Trey Wilson, these wide receivers, I was excited about. When is Dallas Wilson getting back, QB? Do you know that?
He won't play this week, in my opinion.
Okay.
Again, I have no scoop, but he was in a boot the other day. I doubt he's playing.
Well, I mean, QB, you're on 17 shows during the day, so you say you have no scoop, but
I don't. I mean, I could go out there to practice and watch. I got other things to do than go watch practice because, like I told you, you get nothing out of practice.
Okay. Well, I don't go. I agree
know.
with you. I got better things.
JC, I went to 5 practices and I had no idea Tramel Jones was that good. Okay, and I watched the quarterbacks.
Yeah, no,
Because until somebody actually plays in a freaking game, you don't know.
you really don't. I mean, it goes back to the old Danny Werfel thing. The theory of Danny Werfel. The great Danny Werfel was one of the best players to ever put foot on a field for Florida. But at practice, they say, even though I don't know this, but they say he wasn't anything special. But Spurrier saw something in him that he wanted.
It's the same way. I'll never forget Harrison Houston, who was one of my slot receivers, was a converted high school running back to wide receiver. Coach Spurrier and them signed him. I bet you Harrison caught 30% of the passes thrown to him in practice. He dropped them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Coach said? I just catch him on Saturday. We're okay.
Well, he saw something.
He dropped him in the game.
He saw something he liked. He did.
Yeah. I mean, it just, how do you play in the game? I don't need to know how you play in practice.
Well, a lot of folks say you play the way like you practice too.
I've never believed that either. Dan says Jaden Reed is number 11 for Green Bay. I guess Parsons didn't want to pay him. Yeah, he probably said it's going to cost you quite a bit there, young man. So
well, Parsons is not worried about money right now.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Ed on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, in your opinion, how many games does Billy have to win to keep his job? I don't think it's a number. I really don't.
I mean, unless there's a complete calamity and collapse, which I don't see happening, even with this ridiculous schedule Florida's going to play, I think he's fine. And look, it's going to come down to whether or not people are satisfied or disappointed as we go through and end the season. Wins, the total was 7.5. I don't see any reason why they can't make that total and go over that and get to 8. And if they get to 8 wins, I think everybody ought to be dancing in the streets with this schedule, because we've already talked about how
next four games will be after this week, or it is what it is. Zach on YouTube, right by White Plum, says, Shane, do you think the Gators will score 40 plus on Saturday? Would love to light up the scoreboard. I do not.
Oh, you don't? Oh, so you don't like that team total, huh?
Well, I don't know what the team total is.
Well, it's probably not.
It's 26 is my guess.
26. I'll look it up. But I think that's interesting that he said 40, because, teams like South Florida aren't known to, if they're in the game, they're dangerous. But once they start falling behind by 3 or 4 touchdowns, I have a feeling that's when they throw in the towel. But I don't know. Maybe that's the real team down there.
I don't think their line of scrimmage is that great, but scoring 40 is like, we barely scored 55 the other night.
That's a lot. That's a lot to ask.
Scoop and score.
Yeah.
And we threw a touchdown on the last play of the game.
That's right. Well, I think, at some point.
Scoring 40 is hard.
Yeah, I think he's also looking at doing different things too. Florida total points is 37.5 QB.
That's our team total?
You're going to take under, aren't you? And if you take the under, you're laying 25 cents. If you take the under, you're laying 15 cents.
Our team total to score that many points is 37.5.
37.5, which makes that question of 40 a very good question.
Wow. So I would have thought it was 37.5 against like somebody like Long Island.
Well, that's what we got, and they're both
maybe Vegas knows that maybe they don't think South Florida is very good.
South Florida's total points. Well, if the spread is 17, what do you think South Florida's total points are, QB?
17.5.
Well, if it's 17 and the Gators are expected to get,
I don't think they don't do the totals on the point spread, do they?
Well, it says South Florida's total is 19.5 on Hard Rock. So that's 18 points. But you get the message that the spread, I think, is set, which I think is kind of high too. 17.5 points is Florida's number. and the total in the game is 56.5. So we're not expecting a lot of defense, according to the boys out there. And listen, they've missed badly on some first week games out there in Vegas. They do. They miss, just like, remember, the lines people are humans too. They make mistakes and they don't have as much information, or the information that they do have isn't always as good as you think it is, because we don't know anything yet. Week one taught us a lot of things we didn't know or expect, and then it showed us some things we did expect. But Florida is a 17.5 point favorite, my man. That's a heavy number.
That is a lot, a little lot.
I think Vegas really likes the way Florida gets on you at the Swamp. And if Florida gets on you at the Swamp, it seems to go better for them. But against real teams, like teams that come in from the SEC that are expected to have big seasons, it's even if they're playing. Listen, Florida lost some home games last year. They've lost some home games over the course of the last 10 years. But I think that the Vegas has a lot of respect for the Gators this year. They really like Florida this year. And I think the predictions of 7.5.
That makes no sense then if they like slot ones at
Well,
70.
no, I mean, it's an improvement from where they started, dude. Come on. I mean, look at the schedule.
Well, it was 6.5 last year.
Right. So now but the schedule is probably even harder this year, even though it's the same teams. They're not the same teams. They're the same schools with different teams. And in many cases, you could make the case that they're better this year than they were last year on our schedule. Florida State's clearly better. That's one team that's on the schedule that's better.
Well, there's still a lot of football to be played.
A lot of football to be played, but I don't
see, how many times have you seen teams win a big game, the first game of the year, and they end up winning 4 games all year?
No, I mean,
it's somebody do that like last year, didn't we?
Maybe, but I know that the overreaction from week 1 to week 2 is probably greater than at any other 2 weeks during the season, QB. And I'll never forget the Miami team that came in here that Wilbur Marshall just trashed by himself, that ended up winning the national title back in the 80s. So, or I'm sorry, back in the 90s. It was in when was it? Maybe it was the late 80s, 88 and 89. I don't know. But Miami came in here. Bernie Kosar was quarterback.
It wasn't in 88 and 89 because I was here and we did not ever play Miami.
It must have been before then. But maybe it was, but whenever Wilbur Marshall was raising hell, beating everybody's ass, 80, 84, 85, maybe 86, I don't know. But Miami came in here and got smoked and then ended up winning the title. Beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the Orange Bowl that year when Tom Osborne decided to go for 2 instead of tying the game and getting the vote to win the national title. He wanted to win the game.
Tony on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, not our normal Tony, a new Tony, says, Shane, what do you think about Arch Manning's performance? I've talked about it the last 2 days. He didn't play well. I didn't think Sark called a good game. I thought bottom line is the defending national champs whipped Texas's ass.
Yeah.
And Texas still had chances to win the game.
And Ohio State only had about 190, 200 yards of offense.
Yeah.
They weren't great either. And
as bad as Arch played, think about if they convert those 4th downs inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, they might win.
They probably could have won the game. So they're still going to be in the hunt. I still think they're ranked 5th or 6th in America somewhere.
They're so loaded on defense, brother. They're by the time they get here in week 4, after the next 3 softies that they have, I mean, they've got milquetoast, San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. Obviously, they're going to get some things worked out in those 3 weeks, and then they come to Gainesville. Dude, that's going to be a very difficult game. I don't care who's playing quarterback for them. You can bring back, anybody.
Major Appleby,
Sam Erlinger. I mean, they're going to be difficult to deal with because they have players.
They got dudes
out of their mind.
They're a well-coached team. They lost to the defending national champs in their ballpark. I think people need to.
By 7 in the middle of the day at noon, big noon. God, get rid of that.
Josh from Wild Mama on the Titan of our text line says, gentlemen, I took my daughter Harper to her first Gators volleyball game last night at UCF and USF. It was pretty fun and exciting. Those girls are competitive, plus they won. Yeah, we're usually pretty good in volleyball. Usually pretty good. Rick and Jupiter on the Titan of our text line. QB, are you friends with Danny Cannell? He is just a troll, or do you think he is truly genuine? I think it's a little bit of both. I know Danny. I wouldn't say we're friends, but he's in the media. He likes to stir things up. People should get off Billy, Kevin says. It is not that UF is 7-1 with DJ as a starter. We are 8-0 against the spread when DJ starts.
Really? 8-0?
I guess. I don't know. Kevin's keeping up with those stats, I guess.
Good job, Kevin. That's what matters, right, Kevin? You tell him, Kevin. I mean, it's your bank, it's your money, your wallet. That's what you care about. That's what
Yellow
everybody.
Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Williston Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Go get your car wash, folks, at Gallo Car Wash. JC, do you have any Peachland Dental picks for us for tomorrow?
Well, I think basically, we're going to start off with the NFL tomorrow night in Philly.
I don't think there's any college games this
And
Thursday.
no, they play on Friday, and they're really not that appealing. I mean, if you love college football, you'll watch them, right? But there's only 2 games of the 4. There's only 2 with lines on them. That's the Maryland Northern Illinois game and the Louisville James Madison game. So that's on Friday. We'll worry about it on Friday. And then, of course, this weekend, we'll do much better this weekend than last weekend. And I'd be damned if I listen to Kelly Stewart on anything. This Kelly in Vegas, horrible, just awful. But
see, do your own research.
Well, I don't know what I was seeing there. That was stupid. But the Eagles and the Cowboys play on Thursday, and then the Chiefs play the Chargers on Friday. And that's in Brazil, by the way. That's in Brazil. Glad the NFL is going to Brazil. I'm sure every guy on the Chargers and Chiefs roster is excited about a 10-hour flight to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Very excited about that, playing in Brazil. But Dallas and Philly should be interesting. I don't think, again, I'm not one of those guys that says the world is over because they lost a diva who can play linebacker. I don't think he's Derek Thomas. I don't think he's Lawrence Taylor. I think he's just a good linebacker. But listen, they didn't win with him last year or the year before. So
I would say this: he's on a better
offense.
team. He's on a much better team that will win games because of his play.
Maybe that's.
I don't care what anybody says. Cowboys sucked the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, listen. I mean, they lost a quarterback. They had a lot of injuries. They haven't been good. The roster hasn't been constructed right by the general manager. General manager's in his 80s. I think that there's so much hubris going on in Dallas. Maybe Parsons has said, get me out of this diva world. I don't want to be here anymore with all these soft players. The Dallas Cowboys QB, when we were growing up, that was a nasty team. They had nasty players like Randy White, and they had a different personality. The team today, it's all about the show in Dallas. It's not about the game, it seems. And these guys are all pretty boys. And they have bad body language. And they're paying a lot, and they have a great facility, and they play in a super duper city. And Michael Parsons has got a complete culture shock in Green Bay from Dallas, but it's all about playing.
He may love it.
He may love it. You're right.
I would have loved to. I would much rather play in Green Bay than freaking New York.
Sure, it's a college town with an NFL team in it.
Yes,
college following, a great following, but just like Dallas is following, it's the same thing. But he played in Happy Valley in Penn State, and that's in the middle of absolute nowhere. And maybe that is what he needs. And so maybe going to Green Bay with a better team and coach situation, more stability is exactly what he needs. By the way, how about my Yankees running it up on the Astros last night, who I predicted to win the American League? I like that. I like that the Yankees hit some home runs last night and beat those stinking Astros. I don't want the Astros to win. I just think it's hard for the Yankees to beat them. But then again, I remember that Justin Verlander is not pitching for the Astros. So maybe there is a chance for the Yankees. So they won last night in Houston. Just wanted that to go. And by the way, the game I saw the other night was TCU in North Carolina. Nobody's talking about this Josh Hoover. I love him as a quarterback.
You didn't know about him, did you, Jason?
No, I didn't know. Tell me.
He threw for either he threw for the most yards last year in the country, or Nussmeier.
What?
One of those threw
You're
for over
kidding.
4. They both threw for over 4,000 yards.
Who did he play for last year, QB?
TCU.
And why didn't they win any games?
They did. They won like 8 or 9 games. They have 16 starters back, I think.
Wow. They're predicted in the middle of the pack for the Big 12. Somebody's missing the boat there.
Well, you know who's going to win the Big 12 are the Utes.
Okay, well, they're going to have to beat TCU. But
may not even play them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a very competitive and very solid conference. There's some bad teams in it, like everyone has, but gosh, TCU, you were right. They were 6-3 in the Big 12, and after their bowl game, they were 9-4. They finished 9.
And they had 16 starters back. But let's pump the brakes. They're a good football team, but Carolina is a really bad football team.
Wow, that was embarrassing, wasn't it?
They're bad.
It's funny, isn't it? Alabama goes down the field and scores, and everybody's happy. North Carolina goes down the field and scores, and everybody's happy, and the games went completely upside down.
Yep, it happens. That's why you keep playing. Coach Burr says good things are happening, bad things are going to happen. Just keep playing.
Yeah, well, it's true, and I think everybody got really excited when you've got Lawrence Taylor, Michael Jordan, and Roy Williams sitting together in a box. And they're cheering for your football team, then that means that they care, right? That they're excited to be there and everything's great. I wonder how long they stayed. I bet you they left after halftime.
You think?
Well, I bet you Lawrence and Michael did. I think Roy probably stuck around, but the other ones did. QB, who's going to win the Big Ten? Is it Penn State or Ohio State, or is it Oregon? And the reason I ask this is because, the Big Ten is now being compared to the SEC in terms of strength in every metric you look at, right? And I see 3 teams that can win it. And then in the SEC, I see 5 teams that could win it, or 6. Do you agree with that or disagree?
I think there are more teams in the SEC that have a chance to win the conference than the
Okay.
Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think there's only those 3 teams that even have a chance
Yes, I think that's
in
right.
the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think Ohio State probably isn't going to win the conference. Now they could. I think I'm not a fan, and again, it's only one game.
Yeah.
But what's his name's never called plays, and I think it's really going to backfire. I think Ryan Day will eventually take over the play calling as the season goes on.
What's his name?
It's the wide receiver coach that's been there forever. What is his name? Brian.
Okay.
I can't. Hartline. Brian Hartline.
Very good, Zach.
Yeah, he played in the league for a few years, but he's been at Ohio State. He played wide receiver for them. He's a very good coach, a great recruiter. But again, he was calling plays against a phenomenal defense, so that may be the reason.
Who is the fake? Tell me now. I should know this. Who is the fake play caller at Florida?
There's a fake play caller. Russ
Well,
Callaway has the title.
Russ Callaway. Okay, that's what
They
I
all again. We're not even going to go there because I've told people how play calling works, but
I
nobody.
know, but
freaking wants to listen.
doesn't Billy call the plays? That's all I'm asking.
Yes,
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I said.
I thought he called a good game the other night.
Okay. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just curious because you have people who with titles that don't really do what you think they're supposed to do, and then you have coaches who call
Well,
plays.
the reason they get titles, JC, is to get more money.
Okay. All
The
right.
more little things you have next to your name in the program,
Yeah.
the more money you make. That's why
Oh.
Johnny Cornell, assistant to the head coach, assistant passing game coordinator, assistant athletic director of blah, blah, blah. I mean, it gets you more money.
I like that. Okay. I didn't. I think that's kind of funny, actually.
The real Army sniper on here says JC Lagway or Sellers? Question mark.
Well, listen. I think both fan bases are just as excited in the same way with each of those players. I just think with Sellers, you've got a little bit more mobility. With Lagway, maybe you have a little bit better passing. I don't know. That's a good question. Give me a little bit longer sample size. I'll tell you this. Lagway is going to have a much tougher sample size than Sellers at South Carolina because of the schedule. So maybe that works well for Lagway. So let's stay with that. But I think mobility is important in today's game. So many coaches love the moving quarterback. So maybe, Sellers is something special to South Carolina by the end of the year. I do know this. South Carolina is a team that we now talk about, whereas before Lenore, Sellers, and before they started winning some of these games, they won 9 last year. We did not talk about South Carolina. And
their defense won a lot of games for them last year.
They did, but they won 9, and Sellers was one of the reasons. And certainly, my trip to South Carolina right now is on the pending status. I'm not. It is not on the confirmed status like it was a couple of weeks ago. I've got everything refundable. I always do that on these trips. It costs a little bit more, but believe me, it's worth it. Because who the hell wants to go watch your school get their brains beat out?
Be a true fan, JC. You got to weather the storm.
Okay, sure.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. At Campus USA Credit Union, we're proud members. Steve Spurrier Banks. 1966. Houston Oilers,
Yeah.
Houston Oilers hold the Denver Broncos to no first downs in the NFL season
Damn.
opener.
How about that?
How do you go? How do you play a game and not get a first down?
I don't know. It's only 10 yards. Wow. That's
And you know where that game was played in 1966, JC?
Astrodome.
Not, I guess it wasn't built yet.
Oh, it wasn't? Huh.
Well, they played it at Rice Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had Super Bowls at Rice Stadium.
Maybe you're right. It wasn't built yet. Yeah, Rice Stadium that's a big facility.
You know what's crazy is they have not torn down the Astrodome. I think they still have
No,
rodeos and stuff.
they have not. They keep it there. It could be used for parking, but Houston is such a disaster getting through. What a difficult city that is. My God. But
Joseph says, real quick,
have to
Facebook
go
Live
there.
brought to you by Mellon. Arch Manning makes $6 million and it is insane. DJ above $3 million. Can you guess the one player in the top 10 highest paid players that's not a QB? I would have to say it's got to be Jeremiah Smith. I think although he didn't get a whole lot of balls the other day, but
Nah, I agree with that. It's crazy, isn't it? He gets $580,000 a month, and this guy played against PK Young in high school, and now
yeah.
Arch Manning.
Well, okay. I'm not taking up for Arch Manning, but people need to realize his two uncles played at the same freaking high school.
Doesn't matter. He's not the same as they are.
We don't know that, but regardless if it does or not, that doesn't. That my point is the same high school athletes that Peyton and Eli
No, it's
played
true.
against in high school, the same ones Arch played against. That people want to. I just don't understand that.
No, it's true, but the way he was recruited as the second coming of our Lord and Savior.
Well, let me just tell you something.
about
Your
that.
coach wanted him very badly, who's on ESPN now.
Yeah. Well,
The guy in Athens, Georgia, wanted him very badly. So
we'll see how he does. I'm
Yeah.
sure he'll be fine. Listen, he's got three cream puffs in the next 3 weeks. He'll be
he will be fine.
well. We'll see, QB.
Yeah.
You say that, but the next 3 weeks it's going to be easier for him. We'll just say that.
All right, well, that's fine. But for anybody to compare and say he's not a good player because of what he did in high school is just
I didn't say that, but I think it's a big jump from that to.
But JC, again, if his uncles had not played there, I would maybe agree with you. But Peyton and Eli played at Newman as well.
Yeah, but they're different people.
You're saying that now because of what they've done.
Well, I'm just saying they're still different people. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I just think that we need more.
What I'm saying though is I don't give a damn how good a player Peyton and Eli turned out to be. They played the same damn high school schedule as that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, but they're not the same people. And so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Okay, so let me ask
You
you
want me
this.
to just put him up there?
Can I ask you this? Is DJ Lagway the same person as Tim Tebow or Danny Werfel?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure you're on the same
DJ
page.
Lagway has played 9 games for Florida.
Okay, but he's still not the same player as those guys. What the hell? Arch has started 1 game against the number 3 team in America, and he's not the same person.
No,
I totally agree. He played shitty. We all can say that.
I'm
But
not
for
worried about
anybody
it.
to say because of what level of competition he played against in high school has no bearing on what's going to happen here because his uncles played in the same league at the same high school.
Okay, well, it's it's a long story to be written on Arch. We don't know.
As Steven says, different people aren't the same persons, JC.
That's right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Well,
You're
nobody's
trying-
the same person.
Well, I know, but you're trying to say that because Arch or Eli and Peyton did so well in those high schools, it doesn't matter. Well, maybe it does.
That's
Maybe.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying nobody should criticize his high school career.
I'm not criticizing it, but I'm saying it's a lot different world, and maybe
What's a different world?
the world from playing there to going to Austin, Texas.
Okay, I agree 100%. But
Some people handle it differently.
JC, I'm going to tell you this, and like I said, we will find out. Do you know how Peyton did in his first start against a top 10 team?
Probably not that well.
It was worse than Arch, and it was against the number 10 ranked Alabama team at
Hey,
home.
you know what? He may win the freaking Heisman Trophy in 2 years. I don't care. I'm just saying that you have to make some sort of determination. And I basically said I think this is unfair to Arch being thrown in the middle of the horseshoe for his first grand opening. You know, that's difficult. And nobody had to deal with that on Saturday except him and the expectation. But he's the guy on every commercial on television.
Okay, but don't get mad. Don't get mad at him, JC.
I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying.
What I'm trying to say is,
yeah.
All I'm trying to say is I don't give a damn if Arch throws 10 interceptions the rest of the year. But nobody with any common sense can say Arch is playing how he played now because of what he played against in high school. That's not that.
No, I'm going to give him a lot. I'm going to give him more rope, QB. He's got to go through a full season. I agree.
Okay, that's right. But what I'm saying though is these idiots on Twitter and stuff that say, "Well, Arch shouldn't have been this, shouldn't have been that because of what he played against in high school." Well, that would be the same as in today's world, in the Twitter world, with Eli and Peyton coming out and watching the tape. It's the same damn tape, is my point, of high school competitive play.
Okay.
Obviously, Peyton and Eli turned out to be what we don't know what Arch is going to be. But when you compare their high school careers, it's the same damn thing, is my point. All right. Enough of Arch Manning. We got to get to Scott Carter.
Okay. All right.
All right, JC, have a good day.
We'll see you Friday.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan Amore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll be back with Scott Carter.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Landeros Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spur's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Miapa Latin Cafe is proud to support Gator Nation for 22 years. New location open in Alachua, new building, same great food, served with a smile. Check out one of the 5 locations today. That's Miapa Latin Cafe. Back to the Titan and More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, senior writer at FloridaGators.com, Scott Carter. Good morning, Scott. How you doing, my man?
Hey, good morning, Shane. Doing well. Just getting ready for a little bit of a stiffer test this week. Obviously, watching Gators against USF. Looking forward to seeing if they, if they look different, or working on some of the things that Billy Napier's talked about this week. So definitely, I think going to be a lot more difficult game for them.
Zach on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Scott, if Dallas Wilson and Mizell are they both ready to ball this Saturday, or is their first start coming against LSU?
It's kind of still undetermined. I mean, I think they'd love to get them out there on the field Saturday if possible. I don't know what the latest is in terms of, what the probability of that is. I do know they expect them both to be back very soon, so it won't surprise me if they play Saturday or the next week. But, with what they had against LI, I mean, Vernell Brown, it's going to be hard to pull him out of the starting lineup right now, right after that first game. I think J. Michael Sturr and Eugene Wilson are there. So I think with Wilson and Mizell adds depth at this point. And, we've seen it. Billy Napier, the better guy plays each week. So would not surprise me at all if they get back, and eventually if Dallas Wilson continues to kind of do what I saw before he got hurt, he'll probably be in the starting lineup before the end of the year.
Yeah. Texan, what kind of dog we got there, Scott?
That's a dog. We've got a bug guy here spraying the yard, and my golden doodle just went off.
That was great. Text from Tommy in Savannah. He says, according to FloridaGators.com, Saturday's game was the second ever penalty free. The other one was in 2021 against LSU.
Mm-hmm. That is correct according to the game notes. I recall that LSU game in 2021 being a big deal. Of course, the second one being 4 years later, it's like crazy, but they were penalty free. So, I always look at those stats as I mean, anytime you go penalty free, it's a good game by your team. But as far as whether or not that's the second ever, I don't know, because records weren't kept as great as they are today back in the day. But officially, that was the second non-penalty game in program history for the Gators.
Where was that game played? Our place?
LSU 21. Gosh, on mine, I don't have it right in front of me. It was I think it was our place.
That was Kyle Trask. Was Kyle Trask the quarterback that year?
No, that would have been Anthony's first year as the starter. No, Emory Jones, because Anthony took Anthony Richardson in 22. Emory Jones. So,
okay.
Yeah. It may have been out there now that I think about it, because I think the Gators it was back and forth a little bit in that game. They played them tougher than I expected.
Scott, what did you take away from the game the other night?
I look at those kind of games, Shane. I kind of wrote about it in my column afterward. There's 3 things that a team like Florida is going to look to do against an opponent, overmatched against like LIU. First of all, you want to get the handy win. They did that. Second of all, you want to get out of there healthy. They did that. Third of all, you want to get a lot of players that maybe we're not going to see much this year, give them a little experience. So I thought they were able to check all 3 of those boxes. Having said that, just from individual performances, I mean, DJ comes out, obviously seeing him on the field, seeing him able to move around. I thought that was big. He definitely looks rusty. To me, he looks a little slow, a little out of game shape. I think he'll improve in those areas as they move forward. He's going to have to, obviously. I thought Tramel Jones was excellent. Going into that game, I was always kind of thinking Aiden Warner or Bailey Harrison were going to be the backup. But then that last scrimmage, the second one, when Bailey didn't play much, and I watched Warner and Tramel Jones go head-to-head, both had good days, but obviously Tramel Jones kept having good days after that. Got the job, and I thought he handled himself very well. And we're all talking about the Vernell Brown third catch. I mean, that was a great play, highlight worthy. I love what he did on punt returns. He's just an instinctive player. You can tell he grew up around the game. He's got those football IQ that you just can't teach. I think he's going to be an excellent player. And then, of course, anytime you only give up 2 first downs, 86 yards, and 1 of 13 on defense, your defense played well. Again, we know that was LIU, not LSU, but I did think the Gators played very well defensively.
Andy asked Scott here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Do you think Billy will have a package for Tramel Jones to get him on the field throughout the season?
I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't know if there'll be a package every game because him and DJ Lagway obviously have some similar skill sets. So I don't know if the offense totally changes a lot with Tramel in there compared to DJ. But did he handle himself well to where if they need him, if DJ gets banged up or, if he's just having a bad day, do you give Tramel a look? I mean, yeah, that's certainly possible. And I'm not ruling out seeing any of the quarterbacks after only one game, but I did think Tramel, for his college debut, did a nice job. But I think the key for the Gators right now at the quarterback position is just to get DJ Lagway more game prepared, get him a little sharper. Him and Billy Napier both said after the game that, hey, this wasn't air branded football. We could be better than this. And I think that's what they want to put on the field on Saturday when the USF comes to town.
MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says 17-point spread, not giving South Florida too much respect after the Boise game. What do you think about the Bulls coming in here, Scott?
Well, I was a little surprised at the spread myself. I was thinking 9-10 points maybe, just because of what USF did against Boise State. Now, they got some help against Boise State. Certainly, Boise State did not play a very good game, turned it over some. But I really like USF's quarterback, Byron Brown. I think he's the kind of player that, you have to prepare for defensively to stop running, to kind of take away his ability to make plays on his feet. And that's harder to do than it is to say. So I think he's a playmaker. And I think the biggest thing when I look at USF, Shane, and I've had that program. I know that program pretty well in terms of historically. I just think Alex Golesh is probably an upgrade on their last few coaches. He seems to me like he's a guy that's on the rise. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him as a head coach in the SEC or Big Ten one day. He's really solidified the foundation of that program, and it's been kind of it's been in a bad place for a few years before he got there. So he's off to a really good start. I think it's going to be a tough team. I think they play tough. I mean, they just play hard. So the Gators going to have to stay away from mistakes and come out there and take the Bulls seriously.
I agree with all that. I think he's a up-and-comer, no doubt about that. Scott, I wanted to ask you, from South Florida's standpoint, I watched the game the other day, just, their Boise upset. I actually thought they'd win that game. I think the issue that they're going to have with Florida, though, I think skill-wise, they got really good players because they got a lot of veterans. They got speed. All these type of teams like them are going to have team speed, but it's in the trenches. I think we can take advantage of. It would not surprise me to see a heavy dose of Jaden Ball Saturday because you're going to be able to run the football, control the game, and keep their quarterback off the field.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think that would be a smart game plan. And I think they will. I mean, you saw Jaden a little bit against LIU. When he was in there, he had a couple of nice big runs. And, LIU was a little better defensively than I thought what they were able to do. But, of course, stats from a game like that are skewed because Florida was rotating a lot of players in and out. They had some mixed combinations of starters up on the line with reserves. They did the second team at times all in there. So Florida definitely has the advantage in the trenches. Jaden Ball could easily be getting his second straight 100-yard game this week. And also, Shane, when you do that, then they're going to get used to, trying to focus on trying to stop him. And it gives DJ a chance to hit one down the field, which he should be able to do eventually in this game, I think. So I don't expect Florida to lose. I think they'll take care of business. But it could be a game where you just see USF get worn down as the third and fourth quarters progress.
Yeah, depth should take over, no question about that. Scott, have you been able to watch the volleyball team at all?
I watched just the opening, the tournament that they played in out in Nebraska when they upset number 3 Pittsburgh. Then, of course, they had an exhibition match and they beat Norfolk State. So I haven't had the chance to see them in person yet. I do like what they've been doing. I mean, Ryan Tice, the new coach, I talked to him right before they went out to Nebraska. He said, look, he really likes the talent they have. They're going to be a good blocking team, a good hitting team. In his eyes, it was all about, will they be able to serve well enough? If they serve well enough, he liked their chances of, having a really good season. So I think they seem to be doing pretty well there. But either way, a nice start by the Gators with him in control. It's such a different look, Shane. For so long you watch a Florida volleyball game, and there's Mary Wise, and to not see her there after 34 years is still taking a little time to get used to.
JLB, what's the depth? This YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum. What's the depth like on the right side of the O line? We had some issues.
Well, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know Bryce Lovett got picked up a little bit by his performance. I think he'll be fine. I mean, it's Caden Jones, Devin Manuel. Devin Manuel was a guy who was playing right and left tackle some in the scrimmages. Caden Jones, obviously, is the depth piece. I noticed a couple of young guys weren't dressed the other night in Westfall, and the other kid, I can't pronounce his name, from overseas. So I don't, I think the hope there is, Bryce Lovett's improves and they get some better production there. But it's only one game. I don't take too much into it. I like Florida's offensive line overall with their depth and with their experience.
Yeah. Scott, I want to ask you defensively. Do you think Pup Howard comes back this week? But the one guy that always stands out to me, and he gets no pub, is Jaden Robinson.
Yeah, Jaden Robinson had that big hit in the game the other day to force that first fumble that Thornton recovered. But you're right, he has been overlooked some because he's been playing behind Miles Graham and then last year Shamar James, and I think he's one of those guys. To me, he's almost like a poster boy for the old school college player. He gets in, you can see the talent, but he's not quite developed where he needs to be. And he's waited his turn, and he's starting to play. And, just for him to show up the other day like he did, that was a very good performance by Jaden. And I think we've only seen a little bit of him and his potential. So certainly if he can continue to make plays like that, that's a boost from the defense that I don't know if like you said, a lot of people haven't talked about. So that's a plus in my eyes.
Yeah, here's an interesting text from James on the Titan and Mark text line. He says, Scott, do you think college football has gotten to where, and this is kind of piggybacking on the Jaden Robinson talk here, where if players are getting paid X amount of dollars, they are going to start and play more than somebody that may not be being paid as much, but may be a bit more productive than that player?
Well, there's always a possibility of that at the start, but I mean, I think I'm just speaking in terms of the way I know Billy Napier approaches it, just for talking to the players. I mean, who was it just yesterday or Monday? One of the guys was talking about the best player is going to play. That's Bryce Thornton was talking about this. He said that's why I love Billy Napier, because if you're playing well at practice, you're going to play in the game. And with this is such an evolving marketplace, landscape, whatever you want to call it, with where they are right now, this new revenue share. So all the guys are getting something. But then, of course, there's some guys who are going to get more. I mean, nobody's going to make as much as DJ Lagway, obviously. But then there's other guys who maybe do get a little extra on defense. I don't know of enough separation over there beyond DJ and, I don't know, maybe one of the newcomers or something in NIL money beyond the revenue sharing. But that's always a possibility. But I think that's also coaches know that is a disruptive force that could tear apart a locker room. So
yeah,
I just don't know, Shane. It's almost like situation by situation. I know if I was running a program, I'd make it clear that, the guy playing the best is going to get on the field. I don't care if he's making half what the other guy is or not. That's the way it's got to be in a performance-driven sport,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think at some point that's going to happen in college football. And, um, you know, I felt like it kind of happened in Tallahassee last year a little bit. The money they paid DJ
Yeah,
Uiagalelei, they kept
yeah.
playing him, and he just was not performing. So eventually it's going to happen somewhere
I
along
think it's definitely. I think the quarterback position is the one that will always be kind of under that ram a little bit because I got home late from the game the other night and I just happened to flip on the TV and there's Nico from Tennessee playing
the
and UCLA is getting hammered by Utah, and I'm thinking all the buzz in the offseason, all the controversy, in his first game at home in the Rose Bowl, they're losing by 30 points. Like all this stuff, it really does matter so little until they get out on the field.
But what's crazy to me is not only Tennessee, but also UCLA decided and said, they watched the tape and said, we want to give this kid X amount of dollars to be our starting quarterback. I don't know what the hell they're watching because he is not very good. And I think Tennessee, for us teams that have to play Tennessee, I would much rather Nico be their quarterback than Joey Aguilar.
No, I agree. I remember the game last year in Knoxville. I'm sitting there up in the press box watching them close. And I'm thinking, man, I don't quite get the fuss. And then, of course, another guy who came to mind, Jaden Rashad made his starting debut for Sacramento State. They got hammered by South Dakota State. I think he threw for 120 yards.
Well, the Jackrabbits whooped their butts, huh? The Jackrabbits, they're one of my favorite teams.
I was reading the AP story on the game, and Jaden Rashada didn't even get mentioned, so I had to look at the box score to see what he did. But it's just, I think these are just lessons that, this early era of NIL and the quarterback position, it is you've got to be so careful there. And of course, it extends up to the NFL as well. I mean, I shared a story yesterday about Anthony Richardson that The Athletic wrote, and how the NFL often, it can damage a young quarterback as just help it. And the writer talked to a lot of great quarterbacks from the past. And, Richardson, I don't know what he's going to end up, but I got to believe right now his confidence level is probably zero, and it'll be interesting to see if we ever really hear much from him again. And he had some work to do to succeed in that league, as we all know. But I don't know if we'll ever see much from him in that league.
Yeah. Scott, good stuff as always. Got any good articles people can look forward to coming out here this week?
Yeah, just a lot of game stuff. Just looking at USF. I'm going to write about Jaden Ball. Obviously, we talked to him the other day. I think Jaden Ball. This is just my opinion, but I think he's the most talented Florida running back maybe since Fred Taylor.
Agreed.
When you look at the whole picture, I just think he could easily have a 1,000-yard season if they want him to, if he stays healthy. And I think he's an NFL running back that we'll be watching on Sundays very soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. Scott, appreciate your time. We'll see you in the press box on Saturday afternoon.
All right, Shane, have a good one, buddy.
That's Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We appreciate his time. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Thanks to JC and Scott. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.